we had two meetings, Zanuck, J. Edgar Hoover, and me, in Romanoff's restaurant. Hoover was against the picture. First of all, he said, we don't have an FBI man there in the presence with a cop in the presence of an informer, and they argue about the money. We don't depend on the New York Police Department, who depend on informers to get information, not from the Department of Justice, never. This is at lunch. Zanuck said, what's the name of that fellow that you mentioned before? I said, I'll ask Mr. Hoover. You know Campion? He said, Daniel J. Campion. I said, yes, very man, Mr. Hoover. I said, he was the tiger of the pickpocket squad. You remember an old man called Joe Warren? He said, of course I know Joe Warren very well. Yeah. You know Kane? Yes. Well, Kane was there. Warren was not the commissioner yet. And I was in the room, Mr. Hoover, and knew who was paying the stool pigeon? Your friend, Daniel Campion, who became a big man in the police department. He was wrong.
Now, can't you see how important this is? We just want your cooperation, and the charges against you will be dropped.
I think anybody says I'm doing this for my country, just think of Ben Franklin, and then you shut up. And he's our country, 100%. We don't have him like that. No. The last resort of a scoundrel is patriotism. Oh, what a man. Is that a man? And if it's good enough for Ben, it's good enough for me.
Well, you boys are talking in the wrong corner. I'm just a guy keeping my hands in my own pockets.
If you refuse to cooperate, you'll be as guilty as the traitors that gave Stalin the ABA.
Are you waving the flag at me?
What he didn't like is for the man to say, for Widmark to say, don't wave the flag at me. Now, my first line was, don't wave the goddamn flag at me. And he contacted, when he was in Washington, Zanuck, he said, I don't like that. So Zanuck said, yeah, let's go soft on this, what the hell. So when we had the luncheon, he's not going to say, don't wave the goddamn flag at me. He's going to say, don't wave the damn flag at me. He says, you're getting away from the point. I don't want an American in this Cold War to an audience to say to anyone, especially to the cops, don't wave that flag at me. And Zanuck said, that's his character. That's his character, that stays. Quite a few letters on that picture. I didn't think I was irritating anyone that much.
Get that film.
The part played by Richard Schickel. He's a communist agent. A communist agent does not mean he's a communist or a red. A communist agent is a man who, for $1, will do what you want on Monday. And Tuesday, if you want to use him, he becomes your agent. The man sitting there with the cigar, he's the communist in there.
Security isn't interested in all this confusion.
I wanted to be very, very authentic about it, because I met agents that will work for anyone. They don't give a damn.
You got fingers like an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Soft and smooth.
In my business, I gotta keep them that way. And when they stay empty, they get nervous. Come on, come on, come on.
How'd you get to be a pickpocket?
How did I get to be a pickpocket? How'd you get to be what you are? Things happen, that's all.
She looks at his hand. This is important. This is what the mentality is that I'm talking about, that mentality. And she looks at that beautiful hand. He says, I got to keep it that way, my job. Got to keep it that way. And she said, what made you become a pickpocket? And he slams her back. What made you what you are? What the hell's the difference? People are people. People are people is what the whole thing is.
Hi, mister. One by a time, mister. Latest Fifth Avenue creation. By tie.
The characters of Mo represents many people I knew.
Who is it?
Lightning Louie sent me.
I wanted to bring out, we have a caste system, snobs. man, you can't go to that club, the wrong religion or the wrong skin. You can't eat there, you can't do that, you can't even be buried. Now, I thought it would be pretty, I know he loved it.
I'm gonna stay in business long enough to feed this kitty.
How's she doing?
Getting fat. I got almost enough to buy the stone and the plot.
If you lost that kitty, it's Potter's Field.
This I do not think is a very funny joke, Captain Tiger.
I just meant you ought to be careful how you carry your bankroll.
Look, Tiger, if I was to be buried in Potter's Field, it'd just about kill me.
She has spent money every week or every month. She's put down a down payment on a cemetery where they have to screen you. That's how low we've sunk in civilization, where they want to screen you and your background before you dare defile this ground.
So I don't get to have the fancy funeral after all. Anyway, I tried. Look, mister, I'm so tired. You'd be doing me a big favor if you'd blow my head off.
And that's the woman who had her head blown off because of him. That's the woman who sold him to the cops for $50. That's the woman whose life was snuffed out. Same guy for him. And when the guy says, what are you going to do with it? With it? What are you going to do with it? He said, I'm going to bury her. He's going to get her in the cemetery. That, to me, is better than any big overall plan.
Relative?
Nope.
What are you gonna do with him?
I'm gonna bury her.
Where does he live?
He's gone!
He left. Where does he live?
I don't like to go heavy on violence. Violence, to me, should be emotional, as far as I'm concerned. I like it inside, not a bar fight. I don't like, that's too easy. A kid can have Wayne come in and clean up a group of men in a saloon. To me, that's a joke. He went after the man because the man beat up his girl. He didn't go after the man for the United States. And then I said, that's the whole story. That's what I like about this guy's story. That's it. Because nobody ever cared about this man. Nobody. The way this girl did. Nobody. And when she took a beating and he said, who beat up on you and why? I wouldn't tell him where you are. He explodes and he gets the man. I love the high angle on a fight because the close angle is very easy to shoot. Boom, 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 boom. But when you have a high angle, the stuntman, and if the man is doing his part, they better be good. They better be damn good because you're not getting away with murder now. You can see how silly it is if it's not choreographed. And that costs money. And you have to get the best. So when you make your own picture, whatever you do, put so much away for stuntmen if there's going to be a fight. And just go whole hog wild, and you can't go wrong on a long shot. That has to be rehearsed, rehearsed, rehearsed in such a point that when it's a long shot, you will buy, for my money, the intercuts, the close shots. He didn't go for the United States or for all that phony Cold War stuff because, first of all, they're not interested in politics. They're not apolitical. They're nothing even as close as apolitical. They don't give a damn about anything. You should write with your camera. That's a director. That's it. A director takes a song. It's a few scenes, it's a song, lyric. And he makes a symphony out of it. That's what I mean. And he hasn't lost the kernel of it. Does that make sense to you?